Stop doing this if you want to get famous. Okay, clickbait by side. What's up guys, it's 5K Beats here, and in today's video I'm going to show you 5 mistakes beginner producers do when making beats and how to avoid them. So let's hop right into it. Number 1. Comparing yourself to others. Well, I think it's common sense that every person in the world starts comparing themselves to others. This is common sense, but everyone does it. But in general, you shouldn't do it at all because it's just hindering your progress. Instead of comparing yourself to others, you should try and compete against them. So choose one person that's slightly above you and start being better than that person. Don't compare your work to their work, but try to be just as bad as them. Try to take some similar points and try to be better at it. Compete with your mix against their mix. Compete with your sound selection against their sound selection. Competition is way better, and instead of losing motivation, you gain motivation because you want to get better as that person. So instead of comparing yourself, try to compete and try to gain that motivation. Use that fuel, use that motivation to get better as that person and get your progress that way. Okay, number 2, sound selection. As a beginner, it's way normal that you don't know any sounds and you don't know how to use them properly. So it is just common sense that your sound selection is very great, but as you will progress, you will notice that sound selection becomes way easier, and if you try to focus on it and listen to a lot of different styles of music, you're gonna notice the different sound selection they use, and that way your beat's gonna sound better without any effort. So if you know that your sound selection is weak, try to improve of them, listen to a lot of music, try different sounds, experiment with them, and you're gonna see that your beats will improve as well. So the number 3 mistake every beginner producers make is just make beats when inspired. I can tell by my own experience, when I just started making beats, I just did beats when inspired. I was inspired a lot, so that's why I just kept making beats at all time. At some point of my life, the inspiration went down and I didn't make as many beats. After some time, I noticed that my quality of the beats were dropping because I wasn't inspired to make them, and when I was inspired, I make them a lot and my quality of the beats wised up. Well, I focus on quality over quantity, but in today's music business, quality over quantity isn't enough. You have to put both. You have to be able to make quality music and quantity music. So that's why just making beats when inspired is just the wrong mindset. And again, if you want to experiment with it and make beats even when you're not inspired, you never know, maybe something great happens and your beat sounded way better than you actually thought. One rule that we as music producers do is usually our trashiest beat are someone's greatest hits. So just make beats every time you can and put them out there. You never know what's gonna happen. Maybe you're gonna get some placement, maybe you're gonna sell a beat even if you never thought it. So try making beats every time you can and don't wait for that motivation because it's never gonna come. Motivation and inspiration is just one part of it. You're gonna be able to do the work even when you don't feel like it. Okay, so number 4 mistake every beginner producers make is not analyzing your weak points. Well, as a beginner, you have a lot of weak points. You don't know how to use your DAW, you don't know any sound selection, any rhythm, any styles of genres. You don't know a lot of stuff. That's what you gotta learn. So instead of doing a lot of stuff together, I would choose one weak point that you have, focus on it, and then afterwards progress in it. For example, start with mixing. If your mix in general sounds bad, try to improve on the mix. Watch some mixing tutorials. I got a pretty good mixing tutorials channel linked up in the corner right here. Watch that video if you want to learn how I mix my beats and focus on improving that part. After that, try to improve your sound selection. Try to experiment a lot. Try to use some new genres that you never did. Every time you do and analyze a weak point and you try to focus on it, you're gonna grow as a music producer. For example, at the beginning, I made a lot of beats. So I analyzed my beats and I saw that my melody weren't great. So I started using loops. I started to develop that common melody sense, how to develop a melody, how to make better melodies. And I started improving on that part. After that, my sound selection wasn't great, so I improved the sound selection. I noticed that my beats weren't hitting hard enough, so I started improving on my beats. So every time that you can, analyze your weak points, focus on them and try to improve on them. What I'm doing now is I know that my beats are way too crowded, so it's way too much going on for an artist to rap on it. So that's why I try to keep my beats as simple as possible so an artist can hop on it straight away and make some hits. So analyzing your weak points and seeing what you can focus on, what you can change, what you can progress is really important to grow as a music producer. And the last mistake that every beginner producers make is not experimenting enough. So after some time you notice that you use the same sound selection every time, you use the same rhythm, you make the same genre of beats every time, and if you want to go as a music producer, you need to be able to make different stuff of it. Of course, you can be a master of your work and be the master of trap beats, of drill beats, of Jersey beats, but you're missing out of a lot of other opportunities to grow as a music producer. With every different genre and experiment you do, you're gonna learn something. If not, you're not analyzing enough. So every time you try to experiment something, you're gonna learn something, take that information and put it back to your usual work. Of course, sometimes you need to be good at doing something and you're just gonna be good with doing it a lot. But sometimes experimentation is really welcome and it's the only way we as music producers can grow. So if you wanna grow as a music producer, get out of your comfort zone, think outside of the box and try to do some different stuff. Experiment and you will never know, maybe something great happens with it. You can focus on making other genres, you can focus on making other content for Instagram or YouTube. This type of videos right here, I never did before. I tried it out one time, it worked out, so I'm continuing doing it. After this video, I'm gonna analyze the video and I'm gonna see what I can improve on it. So improving and experimenting is very important as a music producer and in business in general. So if you wanna go as a music producer, experiment a lot and you're gonna see great results out of it. So summarizing 5 typical beginner mistakes I even made and how to avoid them is comparing yourself to others. You shouldn't compare yourself to others, you should compete with them. Sound selection, focus on the sound selection, get the right sound selection and try to improve your beats that way. Just making beats when inspired, you gotta be able to put in the work even when you're not feeling it. Not analyzing your weak points, so take your time, analyze what's not working, what's working, what you can focus on, what you can improve on and progress that way. And last part, not experimenting enough. So try to experiment with different styles, different genres, different formats, different YouTube videos, different IG videos. Try it out, test it and see what happens. So yeah guys, was the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram to stay up to date with my work and let's see each other in the next one.